This conference will now be recorded.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Baker. I'm going to be leading the presentation today. Pieced together an agenda for us to keep us on track. If I can get the system going. So I thought I'd introduce you to who we are as the Answer Company, and then who Acumatica is from a corporate and a technology overview. And then we'll jump into the product, and we'll do a product overview, general navigation, work groups, and dashboards. And then we'll cover the construction specific features, budget, commitment management, change order management, and contract management. The intention today is to provide you with a better understanding of who we are as the Answer Company, as well as who Acumatica is from a corporate perspective, and to give you a look and feel of the application. We will be following up with you following the webinar to define the appropriate next steps to support you in your investigation. So the Answer Company, we've been in business for 27 years. We have over 2,300 clients across Canada. And we have 140 team members. Our head office is in Vancouver, and we have regional offices in Toronto, Winnipeg, Calgary, Edmonton, and Portland, Oregon. We give back to the communities in which we serve, delivering over 25,000 volunteer hours in the last 5 years. And we continue to grow at a managed rate of about 15% per year, and we're the #1 Acumatica partner in Canada. The Answer Company acquired Constructive Solutions, which is now a division of the Answer Company. Over the previous 23 years, our sole focus was construction and real estate. So we've got, over those 23 years, we amassed over 750 construction-based clients across Canada. So we know construction, and now the Answer Company knows construction. That acquisition is coming up on a year ago, and the entire Constructive Solutions team came across to be a part of the Answer Company. Over the Answer Company is continually being recognized as a best place to work, a great place to work, a small business of the year. We're gold certified on Acumatica. We're also in the President's Club with Acumatica. Bob Scott's, they evaluate VAR's value-added resellers of software, and we consistently rank in the top 10 in North America for VARs. I mentioned, we give back into the communities that we work in. Our corporate social responsibility program. As an employee, I'm expected to select a charity of my choice and deliver 4 days a year to that charity. In addition, the company, the Answer Company, partners with certain charities, and again, it's expected that I'll participate in those company-sponsored events for 4 days a year. So when you look at 140 employees across, and all expected to give 8 days back into the communities in which we serve, it's like having 3.5 full-time employees focused on giving back into those communities. Some of the charities that we work with across the different regions, the food bank, Heart and Stroke, Habitat, some are national in their nature, and others are more local. So we do food bank in Calgary and Edmonton and Toronto and Vancouver and Winnipeg. Shore cleanup is more, I was out in part of a group that was 60 strong, cleaning 2 kilometers of the Fraser River in the Lower Mainland. But again, we give back into a number of different communities in which we serve. The services that we provide, we help customers like yourself or prospects with their evaluation of software. Should you decide to proceed, we're there every step of the way to get your company implemented on the platform. So planning and piloting and user acceptance training, converting your old data, and then go live support to see you through and make sure that the training we've delivered on the configuration that we've set up is meeting your needs, and that your group is confident in the use of the software. As we start considering products like Acumatica, it's really a customization framework. The Answer Company has a development team led by Colvere with 8 developers. So it allows us to create tight integrations with other applications that some of our clients use and want to continue using, as well as being able to create new code to really wrap around the processes our clients have and really customize the software to meet their specific requirements. Our exposure to 750 plus construction and real estate clients really gives us visibility on best practices, which we can help you with. So if you're looking to consider procedural changes, or if you want to measure yourself against standards within the construction and real estate industry across Canada, we have access to that information and can set up those KPIs and dashboards. And for our clients on our older legacy-based construction-specific software, we offer IT services, so hosting services right down to the desktop to support our clients. So that's the Answer Company. We're partnered with Acumatica. Acumatica does not sell their product direct. They go through a channel of resellers. They believe that a local understanding of both the vertical and domain expertise and the taxes and are very important when deploying solutions. So Acumatica's head office in Seattle, Washington. They're 3X Microsoft guys that in 2008 decided that thought Microsoft wasn't moving to the cloud for ERP solutions at the fast enough pace, so they broke away and started what today is Acumatica. There's developers, 45, 50 developers in Montreal, another big development group in Mexico City and Moscow. You know, again, this head office is in Seattle, and they have offices in Columbus, Ohio for services and support and the like. We were acquired in 2019, Acumatica was, by a private equity group, EQT Partners. So we're very well funded, and that's accelerated our the acquisitions that we've made over the last couple of years to go and buy companies with complementary solutions that work in conjunction with Acumatica, as well as increase our staffing levels to continue to grow our product and the verticals in which we work. You know, Acumatica has over 8,000 customers worldwide. They continue to grow at a very rapid pace. They have 400, I believe it's 450 employees. They might even be higher. There's some new stats out. My stats are a little dated, but over 85% of the employees that they have are all focused on code and writing and the product. So business analysts and coders and product management people, really listening to the customers, listening to the partners to develop their roadmaps and make sure that the prioritization of the key elements there that are on their development roadmap align to what the customer requirements are and what we as partners believe the market needs to differentiate and to meet the needs of our customers. So they're really focused on developing and delivering code. They're really a technology company, and I've been to a couple of their summits. They have 250 people come in a day before the summit starts for a hackathon. So they really embrace technology. They're looking for opportunities for artificial intelligence and machine learning to be incorporated into their software on an ongoing basis. And we have examples of where that's coming out in the software. We're all measured on client satisfaction. So as a partner, part of my compensation structure with Acumatica is all based on the customer satisfaction and net promoter scores. Internal employees in Acumatica are rated on this same customer satisfaction threshold. And so those are key elements. Acumatica is consistently ranked highest in usability. So you'll see when we get into the product, it has a very intuitive design. It's very easy to navigate. It's very visual and it's very logical in how you move around within the software. And that's garnered us, very high rankings in usability. Nucleus Research, Software Reviews, Peer Insights, and G2 are all online software rating services where they hear directly and they poll end users and they get feedback and affidavits from those. And they also get them to rate and rank the software that they're using. And so these are all available online to substantiate. The solution we're looking at is anywhere, anytime, on any device. It's a true cloud-based solution. It was designed in the cloud for the cloud. And so no matter if you're at your desk or your home office or the job site, anywhere you have your phone, really you can be functional within the software. Approving time, approving AP invoices, approving invoices or subcontracts or change orders that might go out to your customers from your cell phone. The model that they have for licensing, they have a small business edition for companies coming off of Sage 50 and QuickBooks that have a small footprint. But the vast majority of our customers go on the advanced edition, which is unlimited licensing. So they believe that the more people that are in the software, the more interaction they're going to have, and the more how they're going to be on the same page, driving profitability and growth. The annual subscription, this is a software as a service. It requires no hardware in your office. All you need is a browser, and all browsers are supported. It also comes with unlimited online training. So there's learning tracks, there's little videos and vignettes that are both conceptual in nature and procedural. So there's videos that will show you how to set up a vendor and how to enter an AP invoice and how to select AP invoices to pay. We give that out as in anticipation of our training, and then it's there and available to substantiate and support the training that we as the Answer Company deliver to you during the implementation. But really, you can go as deep as you choose to in the training and certifications within Acumatica University. The XRP platform, I believe, is what really defines Acumatica as a modern cloud-based ERP solution. In 2009 when they started, 2008 when they started, they took a chance on some development tools. Those have proven to be the core toolkit when developing these cloud-based ERP solutions, HTML5, .NET Framework, and Visual Studio. All of the data resides in the cloud in Canada on Amazon Web Services. We have public cloud offering, SaaS, and we also have the ability, some of our larger clients like to have a private cloud where they have other applications in their ecosystems that they want to create integrations to seamlessly. So you can do private cloud or public cloud. Again, the 97% of our clients on the construction side all do public cloud and is hosted on Amazon Web Services. So very high performance, high redundancy, and very secure. It's all been, the platform's been developed on a scalable SQL database. And some of the main components are, you're able to create workflows natively within the system around any business event within your company. So whether it's on job setup, vendor setup, customer setup, you can have approval processes where someone can initiate that and then it can go through an approval process. Think of issuance of a purchase order or a subcontract or a change order or issuing an invoice, a progress type invoice to your customers. All of that can be what we can create workflows if we choose and route that task through a series of workflows, providing full audit of who approved it and when it was approved. And you can add comments, you get notifications in your dashboards, so that's all a part of it. And the APIs or application interfaces that allow us to create seamless integrations with a number of different point solutions. I mentioned mobile framework. In 2008, when they were getting started, everybody was walking around with a cell phone in their hand. So they built, all of their architecture has been designed with the mobile framework, and you can do pretty much everything you do in a web interface on your desktop monitor, you can do on a mobile device. There's no limit to the number of companies, full intercompany accounting, multi-company environments. There's a Canadian localization version that's multilingual, French and English. It also has multi-currency, so you can buy or process invoices in a currency. You can invoice your customer in a currency. You can have companies in a currency and jobs in a currency, and it'll manage all the nuances of those multi-currency environments. Full document management, you're able to check in and check out documents, version those documents. You're able to attach documents throughout the system at the record level. So when I'm drilling down on certain pieces of information, I can see the documents that are related to that. I mentioned it supports all browsers, and the customization framework, really, it's a low code, no code, so we can develop customizations, and our clients develop customizations within the framework to meet their specific requirements. When Acumatica started out, they came to market with a core set of financials and CRM, client relation management, and they succeeded as a general finance solution with CRM for a number of years. They then started looking at vertical markets that they wanted to go after and participate and compete in. They identified distribution and manufacturing as those first two verticals that they wanted to go after, and they did a gap analysis, and they built out an order management and inventory control system to meet the needs of distributor and manufacturers. E-commerce is just adding on that web front end, partnering with Shopify and BigCommerce, two mainstay players. So, handling all the back office and all the ordering and the replenishments and the distribution and the pick pack slips and all that kind of stuff. So they were succeeding and continue to succeed in those spaces. In 2016, they identified construction as being a laggard in technology. Many of the legacy, the competitors in this space were all 20-year-old technologies. And so they took 2 years to develop. From 2016 to 2018, they built out the key components that are required for construction. So budget management and commitment management, change management, contract and billing management, holdback management, project management. So they started building out those. And in 2018, they had their first construction edition. And that's when I partnered as Constructive Solutions. That's when I partnered with Acumatica. The answer company, because their focus was manufacturing, distribution, e-commerce, nonprofit, they had already been partnering with Acumatica for a couple of years at that time. And then for those service type contractors, we have full work order management to meet the needs of specialty service contractors. Those web service APIs really allow for seamless integrations with a number of different construction-based point solutions. So no longer does your ERP system need to do everything like in the old days. The open architecture really allows for the free flow of information to a number of different point solutions to meet the needs of our customers. So Procore is a collaborative project management solution. ProEst is a collaborative software as a service cloud-based estimating solution. Smartsheet is a cloud-based scheduling solution. Again, there's integrations that are available and have been created so we can exchange data between, financial data between Procore and Acumatica. We can start up a project and bring in that original budget natively into Acumatica once that job has been awarded in ProEst. We can use tasks within a project in order to send information back and forth based on how we're progressing through the job and have that available in our ERP solution. In Acumatica, you can capture time, approve that time, code that time, and burden that time to a job. Then we can produce files that are consumed by ADP or Ceridian or other payroll services to do the gross net calculations to pay your employees. And then, we can bring that data back in to offset the accrual that we've created. Acumatica will have a Canadian payroll out by June of 2023, and we'll be bringing our first stable of clients live on Acumatica's Canadian payroll by January 2023. There are other native integrations that are available, such as Office 365, DocuSign, Adobe. So again, if you have a DocuSign corporate account, you don't pay anything for the integration back to Acumatica, but I could spin up a subcontract. When I go to send that to the vendor for acceptance, it'll create an envelope within DocuSign. It'll send it over for signature. When it's signed and returned, it uploads and attaches that signed subcontract natively within Acumatica at the record level for the subcontract. So again, the paradigm has shifted. Now it's about connectivity and the ability to integrate seamlessly through web service APIs, and Acumatica has an awesome platform for allowing that. So I think I'm going to move on to the product demonstration today. So I will pop in and I'm going to launch Acumatica. So again, it spins up another window in my browser. I've punched in, I have my credentials ready to go, and so I can sign in. So again, the system, when we set up users and we set up user IDs and passwords, it really drives where I can go in the software and what I can see in the software. Typically we're going to set these up with dashboards and work groups to support me in my role. So if I'm a project coordinator or a controller or an owner, I'm going to see different relevant information to support me in my role. So I have a project overview dashboard that's set as my default dashboards. There are a number of different dashboards that one can gain access to by role. So I can see controller, AP, AR clerks. I can see project managers. The dashboards that we were just looking at was the project overview dashboard. So I can get there by hitting back on my tab, I believe, or I can cue on the icon up in the corner, and that will always bring me back to my home dashboard. This project overview dashboard is showing me, my cost by project. So I have one line per job, a description of that job. We get to control the job numbering, but here I'm looking at my revised estimate. So that would be my original estimate plus any approved change to my revised estimate. My costs to date are costs that have come in from AP and payroll. My open committed costs are commitments. So those are purchase orders and subcontracts that we've committed to spend and issued, but have not yet been invoiced against. My remaining estimate is just that and a % complete. Over here, I'm looking at, and again, this is across all jobs. So it could be by region, or it could be, with many of our clients, they're regional companies. And so all of their jobs are going to pop up here, but we can certainly put filters on. Here I'm looking at a change order log list by across all the open change orders that are in the system, across all the jobs. Down below, I'm looking at contract status. We can embed things like webcams, so embedded web pages. So if you have a project that's going off, you want to keep an eye on that, we can embed that directly into your Acumatica dashboard. The contract status by project, when we set up a job, we set up the contract. And then we manage any changes to that through potential change orders and then approved change orders. As those approved change orders, as we approve those change orders, they become available on the contract for billing. So I have an original contract, press approved changes to a revised contract that I can now progress down against. We handle all of the construction type of billings, so lump sum, fixed fee, progress, unit-based, and cost plus. Again, that full range of billing contract types to meet the needs of contractors and developers. So down a little further, again, we have the ability, an owner might like to see how we're tracking on gross profit. We track everything within the system, right? We've got that revised contract, our estimate, and what our anticipated profit is. But again, if this isn't relevant to a project manager and we don't want to be sharing gross profit, then we don't need to be sharing that detail with them. Within our dashboards, we have the ability to embed pivot tables. So the look and feel of Excel, but it's natively within Acumatica, residing on the Acumatica data. And I can drill down on any of the blue lines or links. I can drill down into that data to get more information. So there's a pivot table. I've got another web page. With the appropriate security, I can start drilling down and creating additional widgets into my dashboards. So I can add charts or data tables, embedded web pages like the webcam or the Constructive Solutions website. I can put in KPIs. I can put in pivot tables, Power BI tables. I can create, there's a full wiki page system. So I can create procedural documentation based on how Constructive Solutions is going to interact by role with Acumatica. So I can add those. I'll cancel out of here. I'll save that design. And all of the Wikipedia detail gets logged into the system and is searchable. So, when we talk about intuitive design, all you need to do is know how to type. When I start typing in bill, it'll bring up every possible menu item that aligns to that search that I've started. So I could be doing my project billing, I could be billing expense claims, I could be receiving a purchase order and flipping that into an invoice. I could be going down and approving bills to pay or entering AP invoices, which are bills. The system will also return all of the help topics, again, both conceptual and procedural, that are associated with bills. So how to find a particular bill, how to customer billing configuration, how to set up time and material billing. We also have transaction types, and files that might be associated with bill. So, we have workflows. So if I go to approval, I start typing in approve and I come to menu items. Here I get approval maps. So again, these can be created based on your business rules, and they're easy to create. But again, by typing approve APP, it starts bringing up all of the menu items that are associated with approve or application. So I wanted to go to approval maps. In this demo database, we've set up 5 or 6 just to give you some examples. But what's our approval process when we issue a subcontract or issue a PO? Or what do we do when we get time? So I've got an employee or a foreman out in the field entering time, coding it to a job against a cost code, and then that time can be taken through an approval process. So does that approval process go to the superintendent or straight to the project manager? I guess it depends if it's the employee or the foreman who's entering it. But again, we can create workflows. What happens when we set up a project? What happens when an AP invoice comes through? And again, these can be role driven or they can be dollar threshold driven. It depends on the type of workflow that we're taking and embarking on. You know, the search, a vendor calls in and wants to know the status of their invoice. Well, by knowing the invoice number, I can type that in. It'll bring me right directly to that record, right? So when I'm thinking about how to use Acumatica, all I have to do really is know how to type. So it brought me right to that invoice, 95963. I can see the amount. I can see what job it was coded to, what cost code, what was on that invoice, what PO was it related to, all at my fingertips, right? We have the ability to attach files. You know, Acumatica has a paperless AP approval solution, right? So we can monitor AP at at theanswerco.com. When invoices come in, we can scrape those invoices out of that AP invoice, that email address. We can bring them into an OCR, so optical character recognition, where we're looking and reading the fields that we've designated on the invoice and starting to do our AP invoice entry. Here I have a PO number. Well, that PO number would be tied to a job. If the company, if your customer, your vendor puts your job number on the invoice, again, we can drive it based on that. We can route that invoice without any keying or input, you know, to the right individuals based on the, you know, that job. It goes to a superintendent before it goes to a project coordinator, before it goes to a project manager. And if it's over $50,000, the CFO or the controller wants to see it, or the owner wants to see it. So we're always building these dockets in the background. We have a copy of the invoice. We have a copy of any of the supporting documents. So here's the PO that it was related to. You know, we're getting a date and timestamp with when was it acquired, who entered it, who approved it, who reviewed it and posted it, and when did that occur, right? This invoice number, this dollar amount. And then if there's packing slips or deficiency holdbacks or whatever other supporting documents might be required, become a part of this docket. And once we create a digital payment, so whether we cut a check and we mail that to the vendor, or what we see more commonly is producing a file that's consumed by your bank to electronically transfer those funds to your vendor, the image of that check or that electronic fund transfer will also become a part of this docket. Again, so when I drill down and I get to this invoice, I have full visibility on that invoice and where it came from and who approved it. So I'll pop back out of there. One of the really nice features for navigation, you know, somebody walks up and says, hey, could you look this up for me? Well, sure, I can, but where was I and what was I doing? Well, this has a complete history of everywhere you've gone in the system and what you were working on. So I can pop out to that project and I want to go to Burnaby Business Park. So it'll spin up that project. Over on the left-hand side, we have what are called work groups. So these work groups are like applications, and I'll just pop up construction, for instance. Within the construction application, we set up projects and we enter budgets and we issue POs and subcontracts. We create potential change orders and owner change orders. We define our contract with the customer, where we're setting up a schedule of value and progressing, or if it's construction management, we're setting up a time and material type contract in order to bill our customers. So we have things that we set up, we have transaction types that we run, and then we have inquiries and reports. I get full control over my menus, so I can show more or show less. If there's tasks that I use on an ongoing basis, I can create tiles out of those for easy access. And again, you'll note that some of the tasks have yellow stars beside them. Well, those are tasks that I like to group together and I use on an ongoing basis. By identifying those tasks, all you have to do is double click on it. But what that will do is it'll put it into the favorites. So favorites, again, is about my persona as Patrick. In the software, it makes it easy to navigate to the common tasks and reports that I like to run. So we have construction, project management, we've got dashboards, time and expense management, purchasing, inventory, work order management. These are common areas that I cover in my demonstrations. And so I've loaded those all into my favorites. So we have with the construction area, we have project management. You know, within our project management software, we have the ability to create issues. So this, again, it all extends out to the mobile, right? So I'm in the field, I see something, I want to create an issue. We can have classification of issues. So whether those are deficiencies or quality issues or any type of project issue. You can even, we see clients using project issues to initiate safety and manage safety because I can have classifications of issues that cover off safety. Those issues can be escalated into an RFI, which can be communicated upstream to the architects and engineers or the general contractor, depending on where you are in that food chain. You know, and then when we're in a request for information or from a project issue, we can also jump straight to a potential change order and start building out the costs associated and the potential revenue that's gonna, and we can tag statuses to those change requests and monitor those to make sure those are being moved through the system. We also do daily field reports, we manage drawings, there's photo logs, shop drawings. So again, project management, operational, collaborative software capabilities. And these are modules, right? If you don't need the project management, then you don't acquire that or you can add it at a later time. So the construction edition comes with certain components. Time and materials, so I can capture time, I can approve that time. We have full expense receipts and claims that extend out to the mobile. You know, purchasing. So depending on how sophisticated you are, we can go from a request to a requisition, and then from requisitions to purchase orders. And then we can receive against those purchase orders. You know, typically we see our contractor clients issuing purchase orders in the field. They want to make sure they know who ordered it and maybe what they ordered. So superintendents can, on their phone, can be issuing purchase orders. We can then, you know, receive against those purchase orders and flip them into AP invoices. Our purchasing, we can purchase to a job, or we can purchase to inventory and then relieve from inventory to a job. So a lot of flexibility there, depending on the sophistication of the clients that we work with. The last workspace I'll cover off is dashboard. So again, out of the box, the system ships with a number of different types of dashboards. Again, if you're using our client relation management, we've got sales manager dashboards and salespeople dashboards to manage leads and opportunities and pipeline, all of the front end side of the business development side of the business. You know, we have controller type dashboards. So again, serving up the information that's going to be relevant to the financial lead within the company. So cash required in 30 or 60, cash expected, overdue customers, overdue, you know, vendor payments on hold. And these are all just based on inquiries within the system. So I can drill down into these. I get full control over the detail of which columns I want to see. In any of the grids we're in, I get to select the columns and select the order of the columns. So if there's over 60 days, if I don't want that to be a part of my grid, that column will now be just will go away, and it'll minimize and tailor the information. I can sort on any of these colors. So if I wanted to find out who we owe the most money to, right, because I'm in an AP vendor summary, you can also put filters on. And so you can create filters and have those tabs appear. You can make them default tabs. This one was just targeting in on Kingston Plumbing, one of the vendors that we deal with on the construction side. So again, lots of flexibility here on the grids. What you see is what you get, and you get to control. So I can take this data, even though the data is residing in Amazon Web Services in the cloud, I can always pull down any data that I'm looking at into Excel and save it as an Excel spreadsheet for my what if scenarios. I can always fit to maximize the screen. So hop over and see my last, where I was recently. I want to go into the Burnaby Business Park and show you what the project layout. So what I think Acumatica has done a great job of is really bringing everything that you need to manage a project into one screen. So here on the summary tab, we have some general information about this project. Again, we can assign it a project ID, alphanumeric, give it a name. We can identify who the customer is. These are some natural accumulators on the job, actual income, expenses, margin we're tracking on, a job description. You have the ability to create templates. So if there's types of jobs that you do on an ongoing basis, I can save a job as a template. And then from there, so I can come over here and I can work with templates, and I can create a template, or I can copy projects. There's a variety of things I can do. And within these templates, I can define, are we going to use our change order workflow? Are we going to track production units out in the field? What contract type are we doing? So this is a progress. What invoice format do we want to use? There's no limit to the number of invoice formats that you can have. If it's time and material, what rate tables do we want to set up to support our charge out rate tables for labor or material or equipment, markups on subcontracts? So we have that flexibility. Do I want to allow the project manager to run billing right from within the job? So again, these are attributes on the job, and we can create templates. If I want more information on this particular job, I could jump over to the cost budget. So this job is deploying a cost code structure. So we have a concept of project tasks, so projects within a project. There's a number of things you can use projects for, but say if you're doing a development and the development has multiple phases, or a project with multiple buildings, and you want to segregate your costs and cost tracking by building, we're able to do that. So creating projects within projects. This particular project has been set up and is using tasks to align our revenue to our cost budget. I'll get there in a minute. So we're using a cost code structure. This is using a 2-3 cost code structure, but again, it's user definable. And we have a lot of flexibility into the structure of the cost codes that we develop. This is using a divisions 1 through 16 standard GC database. So I have a project, I have a cost code, I have a cost type. And then when I'm on a transaction, I can go and drill down and look at the view transactions that are making up these costs. The headers, I get to control the columns like I spoke to before. And so I can pick and choose which of those columns and the order of those columns that I want to see. I can also just drag and drop certain columns into change orders if I see fit. So what I'll do is I'll bring that back over to where it was just for consistency purposes. But here I'm looking at what was my original budget. Any changes to that, we're using our change management to manage any changes from the original budget to the revised budget. So we give full audit to every change in the budget. Here I can look at I've got a number of these. So I've got some committed costs that would be most relevant after there. I think somebody's been moving around these columns in our work environment, but I've got some commitments. So POs and subcontracts, and then I'm going to have some actual costs. And then I can do further, I can do cost to complete. So again, there's been some changes here, but I can get to control these and those views will be saved for me. So if I just take a moment here, I can go original budget, budget change orders to revised budget amount, revised committed cost to completion. That should go down, put that to the end. I can also take my projected cost at complete. It depends on how it is that you choose to do this. Original committed amount should be up here. Revised committed I don't need, so I can remove. Committed invoice, remove. Committed open, remove. Also, so I'll go from my original committed to my actual amount. Get that out of there. So you can see how you can clean these up and then support your role. I like fewer columns. And so those changes are made. Now I can use all of the real estate that it's providing me. And so now I can see my original changes to a revised budget. I can see my commitments. I can see actual amounts that have come into the system. I can see a variance that's driven from that, and I can make that column a little bigger. And then I can get into forecasting. I can look at my cost at complete or projected cost to complete. And then I can use these projections to support me in my forecasting. So we have cost control. We have every PO and subcontract that's available, that's been issued on this job. So POs and subcontracts, every potential change order, every owner change order that's been approved. Again, all related to this job. As I pivot on these jobs, I get different information on the different tabs. Here I can see all of the AR invoices that have been issued on this project, giving me a full billing history. And I can see the balance, so a little quick profit and loss on the project to see how we're tracking at any given time. I mentioned that, when you set up a job, you set up the contract. In this revenue budget, these are the schedule of value line items for this particular project. Right in this grid, I have my original. I have changes to that were approved. Change orders are coming in. I can add those potential changes to an existing schedule of value line item, or I can add in my change orders down below and progress against those change orders as need be. So what my actual amounts are, I can see over here. I get to punch in a % complete or how much I want to invoice on this particular billing cycle. So again, there's some different tax categories that have been brought in here, but we're managing the holdback. So when we set up a contract and the schedule of value line items, we're also managing the holdback or the retainage. So from here, I could go in and punch in what % complete I want to bill or the dollar value that I want to bill, and I can run my project billings right from here. I was talking about the use of tasks. When we set this project up, we grouped our tasks. We used tasks to align to our revenue budget. And so what that allows me to do is to quickly see how my cost budget is tracking against my revenue budget, which is really handy when you're doing your progress bill. So I can see my actual amounts that roll to my schedule of value contract amounts. And that's helpful when I'm overdoing and determining what % complete or the amount that I want to bill. Once that progress billing is done, I can pop open. We produce an invoice that you can send to your customer. Again, this is just a report, right? These are pretty standard. I'll bring up a pro forma invoice. So again, if you have a format that you'd like us to follow, we can certainly accommodate, but I have a contract amount, complete to date, less previous. This is the first claim. So I've got my progress billing total, how much holdback, less holdback, the net amount plus tax. This is the AR that we're going to be aging and tracking in the AR module. And here is the schedule of value and the dollars that I've pulled down per line against the contract amounts. So this is an invoice format and there's no limit. It's just a report. Further, if I was in invoices, I just want to alt tab here. We also help you manage your work in progress. So natively within the system, we're tracking everything that's required in order to manage your WIP. So this is one line per job. I have my total estimate. I know what my job to date cost is. Those costs have come into the system and a % that's been a % complete driven by that relationship. Because we're setting up the contract and managing original plus approved changes to a revised contract, I have my total contract amount. We're doing the billing out of the system, so I know how much I have billed the customer. The adjusted revenue is really applying the 32.34 against my revised contract amount to tell me how much revenue I can be recognizing and whether or not I'm over or under billed on this job, giving me an adjusted amount for my period. So typically, clients are doing their WIP management annually, maybe quarterly. Once you start using a system like Acumatica, it's just a report that you run. And that information is always available to you, so it can shorten that cycle for your WIP management. So I think, are there any questions that we have on the information that's been shown so far? Not sure, are you monitoring?
I don't see anything in chat, Patrick.
Okay, well, I think in closing, I'll pop back up here, get back over to my worksheet. So we went through the demonstration. So I'd like to thank you for your time today. I hope I was able to provide you with a better understanding of who we are as the Answer Company, who Acumatica is, and also what the interface looks like. We will follow up in the following days to develop a plan to support you in your investigation. And that might include completing a detailed discovery, scheduling an online demonstration to address your prioritized requirements, shaping out the investment, letting you talk to a few of our clients, and then getting started on the implementation.
Patrick, I did see a question here. What is the conversion like from Sage 100 Contractor or
Yeah,
Sage
so
100?
Yeah, so we work with customers as a part of our implementation process to identify the information that need come across in the conversion. Typically, the data that we convert is at an opening balance level. And that's all based on your go forward reporting requirements. If you have jobs that are midstream and they're construction management type jobs, we might bring over all the detail for that specific job to provide a full audit and history within Acumatica. But again, while you haven't done one of these in a while, we do about 50 a year. So we're pretty good at organizing and identifying those pieces of information from your existing legacy-based system that need to come across and be uploaded, into Acumatica. We can certainly do vendors and customers. Typically what we're doing is we pull them out of your existing system, get them in Excel, let you clean them up, and then we'd import them through the import scenarios within Acumatica. And then, in the piloting phase and the user acceptance training, we're expecting that the customers are going to enter all the sample transactions that they run through to see how they move through the system and understand the audit, and to make sure that the information is flowing through onto the key reports that they're going to need out of the system. Once we've done that proof of concept and we've done the tweaks to the initial configuration and we've gone through the user acceptance training, then what we do is we flush all the transactional detail out of the system in the data shell, and we bring in opening balances, and then we go live. And so that hopefully that provides a good overview of the data we convert and the steps that are required in identifying that data. Are there any other questions? Awesome.
Nope. Don't see
Well, thank you very much for your time. I hope today was informative, and we will be following up in the next few days to support you in your investigation.
Thanks, Patrick. Thanks, everyone, and have a great afternoon there.